Welcome back to the show. The world was not prepared for COVID-19, and many people suffered physically as well as emotionally. TLC Virtual Resiliency is a company that's dedicated to providing virtual support and the development of resiliency. The organization aims to help employees manage stress as well as achieve wellness and become effective. Here now to share a little bit more about the organization and the work that they do, I'm joined by the chief psychologist and co-CEO of TLC Virtual Resiliency, Robert Goldman. And Robert, good to have you here with us here on Open.
Good to have you. Thank you for having me, Darren.
Well, listen, when we talk about this here, obviously, a lot of us are still trying to navigate the COVID-19 situation, and stress is a major word. Talk to us about the work that you're doing in helping people really overcome stress.
Sure. So, a little bit background about me. I'm an attorney and a psychologist. I started off first as an attorney. Then I went back to school and I got my doctorate in psychology. And in the wake of COVID-19, so many of my attorney colleagues were, for the first time, coming out of the woodworks and admitting that they had a problem with anxiety and depression. We already know this, but the stigma attached to it prevents them from talking about it. So I saw this as a call to action, and I started doing virtual Zoom meetings to discuss the importance of like resiliency, and it really took off. And now we have like 570 members at a virtual lawyers lounge talking about stress and anxiety. And it's finally acknowledged that we need to be prepared, because clearly we were not prepared for COVID-19 from a, infrastructure biologically, but we also were not prepared psychologically. And that's what resiliency is all about, is building up better preparation so you can be stronger when the next stressor starts or commences. So what we did is we've expanded what TLC VR was doing for the lawyers to expand it to all different companies, doctors, businesses, and things like that that are not prepared, that are hurting, and need to take valuable lessons from what we learned from COVID-19.
Yeah. So what are some of the stresses that that you're hearing, that you're coming across that maybe we're not so familiar with?
So what's really interesting that I'm doing as I do these meetings with different professionals, I'm realizing that everybody has different stressor that's associated with their jobs, right? But one thing that everybody is stressed about at this point, I think, is what is the return to the new normal, whatever that's going to look like, and how are they going to manage going back to work, and what's going to change? How much are we going to be working from home? Have we discovered a new way of working? So you know what? I don't have to be in the office. And, that's a double-edged sword, because one of the stresses I've noticed is that people may feel that they're more productive because they're able to stay home and do their work, but they're not able to set up boundaries so that, when their office becomes their home, and that's not a good thing. You may feel that you're being more productive, but you could potentially burn out and lack the socialization that is so important to resiliency.
Yeah. And when we talk about socialization, obviously a lot of people are still stuck in this isolation socialization challenge, and that's a huge stressor all by itself. But we also learned a lot about mental health during this time, that it really is a huge issue affecting the average person, from lawyers on down to the everyday person. Give us a little bit about the approaches you're taking towards mental health.
Yeah, so May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's where people are urged to step out and acknowledge mental illness, that we all do struggle. Many of us struggle with anxiety and depression and things like this. So it's important to raise awareness. And what I love about doing these Zoom meetings, we meet with each company to figure out what your needs are, and then we divide up the employees, and we have different topics specific to resiliency. So then most of them are psychologically based, evidence-based, I should say. So we might talk about mindfulness. We might talk about the importance of letting go, something we call radical acceptance. All these different types of evidence-based psychological workshops we offer to this specific company. And we talk about psychological concepts, not in a stigmatizing way, but in an insight way, so that we seek to help and change behavior that's more functional as opposed to dysfunctional, because I think we've gotten into some unhealthy habits, but also some healthy habits that we need to continue on.
Yeah, yeah. And I know you're paying a lot of attention to healthcare professionals too. And so for somebody who wants to become a part of these conversations, a part of this dynamic, how do they go about doing that?
So if they're interested in joining us, they can contact me. My personal email, I'll share that. It's rgoldy at AOL.com. They can also go to my our website, I should say, www.TLC Virtual Resiliency. And if you go on the website, you'll see everything that we're about and all the things that we offer to individuals and companies.
Yeah. And so as you're in, we're getting closer to the summer, what do you see the conversation turning to now?
I think that the attention now is about, the return to normal. At the same time, how do we make up for lost time in terms of, vacation connections and parties, and reaching out to others as we are able to, connect with each other more than we have in the past. We might become overwhelmed with that. So it's all about balance, right? It's about, how do we ease back in? How do we maintain connections and at the same time balance our work? And I
Yeah.
think it's going to be a unique challenge for all of us, because we've never dealt with this before as a human, right? I mean, this is really kind of new. Like, it's almost like waking out of hibernation, and not, where's the balance where we go full bore to party all the time, and at the same time being productive and taking care of our mental health. And I think that is uncharted territory that we need to be hyper vigilant about and aware. And
Yeah.
I think that COVID may be over, but there are long lasting effects to it that we need to be sensitive to and be aware of.
It's going to require communication. It's going to require dialogue. And Robert Goldman, thank you so much for being with us, talking about TLC's virtual resiliency. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me, and have a great day.
All righty, want to let you know, thank you. And if you want more information about the organization, please visit the website, tlcvirtualresiliency.com. And we encourage you, please don't go anywhere, because Oprah will return right after this.